ಎಲ್ಲರಿಗೂ Namaskar. And ladies and gentlemen, I can never forget my period as Governor of State of West Bengal for 3 years. Namaskar. That's required. And I'm sure my message will be carried to the Honorable Chief Minister by Chief Minister of Karnataka that I did say Namaskar. Honorable Governor of Karnataka, Shri Gehlot ji, a man who has lived his life in public with sterling qualities, deep commitment, and brings on the table huge experience. Honorable Chief Minister of Karnataka, Shri Siddaramaiah ji, sir, a very thought-provoking address. Very thought-provoking. Curtailing subjectivity, promoting transparency, enhancing inclusivity. These are challenges. Your focus and your commitment will go a long way. You have touched upon half a dozen aspects that are critical. It's indeed a very thought-provoking, far-sighted address. And I'm sure all enjoined with this constitutional obligation to address the issue of employment and recruitment, not only with the government, but in private sector, also bear your thoughts in mind. Srimati Preeti Sudan, Chairman UPSC. Well, UPSC is a body that can always act as North Star for all public service commissions. Under her chairmanship, very high exemplary standards have been set. And I'm sure if you analyze, it has been transformative in several ways. Shri Alok Verma ji, Chairman Haryana Public Service Commission, Shri Shiv Shankarappa S. Sahukar, Chairman Karnataka Public Service Commission. When I look at his surname Sahukar, in Rajasthan it has a meaning. Sahukar is one who is honest, who is transparent, and who is available to you when you are in need of finances. And therefore, coming as I do from a village, Sahukar ko to pranam karna hi padta hai. Distinguished members of the Union Public Service Commission, Chairpersons of State Public Service Commissions, members, distinguished audience, and I must recognize the presence of head of bureaucracy in the state, Dr. Shalini Rajneesh, and on the police side, Dr. Alok Mohan, the Chief Secretary and the DGP respectively, and my dear friends. It is indeed an occasion because this is Silver Jubilee celebration in a sense of convergence of people who are enjoined constitutionally with a very solemn task of recruitment to the services that ultimately serve the public at large. This gathering, this convergence, this group, this brainstorming session would certainly, I'm sure, lead to positive results. It will foster coordinated response to our nation evolving and describe, define, and also fructify its socio-economic landscape. Such a purposeful convergence, such a purposeful gathering, the nature of deliberations would certainly focus on two aspects. One, self-audit. Self-audit is very difficult. But any organization or individual, if it is kept beyond scrutiny or probe, that is the surest way to slide into irrelevance. The degeneration is fast-tracked. I am sure you will all, in togetherness, self-audit. Also, you will devise mechanisms of way forward advance, way forward stance, way forward methodology, strategy. Some facets of it have been hinted by the Honorable Chief Minister. Undoubtedly, public servants constitute, and it was called, there is some doubt about it, but Sardar Patel, the first Home Minister of this country, had called it a steel frame. But I call it a spinal strength of Indian democracy. I have no doubt that our bureaucracy is so talented, it can be transformative, provided it does not suffer hiccups from other agencies. Since this is the only conveyance that democracy has to transform vision of the people that is sanctified on platforms like Lok Sabha and legislatures into ground reality, this segment has to be only the very best. It cannot afford to be anything but the very best, because you are the architects of administrative edifice. You are guardians enjoined with the task to forge foundation of our nation's present and future. The constitutional frameworks will allow you to this task, the daunting task, and therefore they created a mechanism. And when the debate took place in the Constituent Assembly, Rajendra Prasad, the chairman of the Constituent Assembly, the first president of India, he had the occasion to reflect, and his vision was very clear, and so clear that it has emerged at the moment as a writing on the wall. What he said, I quote, his vision was independent commissions free from executive influence, because these will guard against jobbery, nepotism and favoritism. Jobbery is nothing but a robbery of meritocracy. Fortunately, there is emergence of an ecosystem at the moment where transparency and accountability are driven by public policies and also by technological penetration. We are realizing something that had eluded us for long: equality before law. Now, these twin principles of equality before law, transparency and accountability in governance, can get cutting edge only when recruit process to the governmental jobs inspires confidence, inspires credibility. Our nation at the moment, friends, pulses with hope and possibility, but there is a huge pressure of mounting expectations. People have larger idea of expectations. The more you deliver, the more they aspire. That being the situation, the challenge before governance at a state and central level can be met positively in public interest only by having an agency, the public servants, who function 24/7 with sole purpose of serving the public at large, deeply embedded to rule of law. And this demands innovative policies, and therefore we cannot afford in this country to relegate problems to the background. Staggering problems, gradual stagnation contradicts good governance. We must therefore have people who can take decisions, who are not tentative, who are farsighted, who are in touch with ground reality, and are fired by the zeal to always keep the nation first. India at the moment is rising to unprecedented heights. Our economy, fifth at global size, likely to be third in a year or so. But our object is very clear. We have set a goal for Viksit Bharat at 2047. This is a daunting situation, achievable. But this can be brought about only when we increase per capita income of every individual by 8-fold. A challenge that can be met only with bureaucracy that has input solely premised on merit. They will have to be in mission mode with a passion to execute the agenda of governance to achieve Viksit Bharat at 2047. Public service commissions, therefore, in such a situation play a pivotal role. They can bring about game-changing situations because nothing is more important than having nurtured human resource that is dedicated and capable. We are moving towards an era of harmony, unity and unanimity. That is our civilizational essence, our ethos, inclusivity, unity in diversity are hallmarks. They are positive for us. We cannot see polarization or divisiveness in such kind of a scenario. The nation created one single national tax regime. I had the occasion to reflect that on the night intervening 14th and 15th August 1947, we had a tryst with destiny. But when GSE was rolled out at midnight, we had a tryst with modernity. The nation is debating, and the debate will throw up, I'm sure, something positive as regards elections. But my emphasis will be that we must work in a fashion rising above partisan interests when it comes to development, when it comes to national interest. We have to keep interest of the nation always uppermost, and from that perspective all must converge in parliament and legislatures to enforce transparency and accountability of the government. My firm belief is that if parliament is not functioning, it is having disturbance. Executive is the gainer because accountability can't be enforced. And therefore, we have to revisit our thoughts. Constituent Assembly, little less than 3 years and in 18 sessions, worked hard to evolve a constitution we are proud of. But they are contentious issues, they are divisive issues, they are issues of language. They negotiated all these tough issues against heavy wind, headwind, air pockets, difficult terrain, but by taking recourse to dialogue, debate, discussion, deliberation, consensus. I strongly advocate in national interest that our polity at the moment is too divisive, too polarized. Interaction is not taking place at the premium level in political organizations. When it comes to nation, and when the world is in a transformative phase, it is India's century. That century can be fully fructified for people's gain only when we have calm political atmosphere. We need political fire extinguishers. A political divisiveness, a vitiated political climate is far more dangerous than the climate change menace we are facing. And I am sure, therefore, all it lies in the kind of training we have. If bureaucracy gets ingratiated with the dispensation, or it gets emasculated for reasons, the nation pays a huge price for it. And therefore, It is obligation of public service commissions to balance service morale with bureaucratic expectations. Extensions in service, extensions in any form for a particular post are set back to those who are in line. It defies the logical principle of expectation. We have a doctrine of expectation. People devote decades to be in a particular groove. Extension indicates that some individual is indispensable. Indispensability is a myth. Talent abounds in this country. No one is indispensable. And therefore it lies in the domain of public service commissions at the state and the central level, that when they have a role in such kind of situations, they must be firm. I have indicated on some occasions, then when advice is tendered by public service commissions in matters of discipline, decorum and demeanor, if their advice is reversed by the executive at the center or the state level, you must brainstorm. You are an expert body. Reversal of your advice is a serious matter. It must catalyze thinking at your end. Have you really gone wrong? If so, get into correction mode. If no, make your point known. Because if your advice is rational, well premised, well meaning, and then it is reversed, well, there can be no sanctity to such a situation. It can be a subtle form of patronage, overlooking lapses, and such a situation has cascading impact because we are living in times where even the most well-guarded secret, a secret which people think is fully preserved, is an open secret. Nobody talks about it. I strongly commend the initiative the government has taken with respect to public examinations, prevention of unfair means, Bill 2024. The Honorable Chief Minister hinted at it. This is a menace. You have to curb. Your fairness of selection will have no meaning if paper leakages are there. And paper leakage has become an industry, a commerce. People, young boys and girls used to have fear of examination. How difficult the question will be. How will we address it? Now they are having two fears. One is fear of examination, second fear of leakage. So when they are giving their very best for several months and weeks to prepare for an examination, and they receive the setback of leakage, imagine the hours they lose. If someone will quantify it, loss of human resource, it will be mind-boggling. And therefore, commissions need to employ technology, all means to ensure that such kind of recurrence does not take place. I would urge the Union Public Service Commission to share its best practices in this regard in a structured manner with the state public service commissions. I was greatly touched with what the Chief Minister said. We must have empathy for social justice. We must have empathy because it's a constitutional ordainment. The prescription is embedded in the Constitution. The ground realization is a cause of concern. It requires vigorous effort. I can assure you, talent, merit, dedication, commitment are no longer preserved of any specific category. Widespread education has brought about a level playing field. And these segments suffer historical drawbacks, and therefore, in their wisdom, as a visionary step, Dr. Ambedkar and other framers of the Constitution had provided affirmative mechanism for them. That has taken shape. Friends, we are in an era equivalent to another industrial revolution because technologies have made inroads, disruptive technologies, artificial intelligence, Internet of Things, machine learning, blockchain of the kind. These are not words. They offer challenges, they offer opportunities. But particularly for human resource recruitment, training, capacity building, these have to be harnessed fully. I find much is being talked about, but government institutions and corporates must come forward to make ordinary people realize the power this technology offers to them. And that power must be unleashed in a regulated manner for welfare of all. It is with utmost restraint I am reflecting on an aspect. Public service commissions, the appointment cannot be driven by patronage, by favoritism. There are trends that are visible. I do not wish to reflect on them, but some of them are very painful. We must account ourselves to our conscience. We cannot have a public service commission chairman or a member wedded to a particular ideology or an individual. That will be undoing the essence and spirit of the framers of the Constitution. I say no more on this. Post-retirement recruitment is a problem. In some states, it has been structured. Employees never retire, particularly those in the premium services. They get number of ad hoc nomenclatures. This is not good. Everyone in the country must have due, and the due is defined by law. The process is set in motion by public service commissions. Any largesse of this kind is antithetical to what was visualized by framers of the Constitution. I would urge the UPSC and state public service commissions to engage vigorously in capacity building. Capacity building of routine nature is no longer a requirement because people can self-learn. People can enhance their capacity by themselves. Your structured mechanism of capacity building has to be innovative. It has to be of a nature that we compete in a world that is changing very fast. Long before Socrates, the Greek philosopher, there was one Heraclitus. And he said the only constant is the change. A person he buttressed, the same person cannot enter the same river twice. Because neither the person is the same, nor the river is the same. And therefore, the bureaucrats are facing challenges every day. Those who are in prime of their service would have never imagined of renewable energy, solar energy, digitization, technological penetration. They would not have imagined. I became a member of parliament in 1989. A landline connection, Honorable Chief Minister, 50 connections to a member of parliament for our power. Does anyone need landline connection now? Then we came with telephone booth, and the minister was accoladed. Telephone booth is available, you can talk anytime. Do we find them? In my state, and maybe in your state also, Honorable Chief Minister, in yours also, Honorable Governor, no marriage was good enough if you don't give VCR or VCD? It has disappeared. Where have digital libraries gone? The point I am making is, we are changing too fast. We are changing every moment. We have to keep pace with it. We are on quicksand. We are on quicksand of technology. And right now, we are aspirational. We feel emboldened to tell the world we are not a nation with potential. We are a nation on the rise. The rise is unstoppable. It is incremental. We claim boldly and rightly, century belongs to us. But then, we have to work in overdrive for it. And therefore, weakening of institutions, any institution, if it is weakened, the damage is to the entire nation. Weakening an institution is like prick on the body. The entire body will be in pain. I would therefore urge, we must have strengthening of institutions. States and union must work in tandem. They must be in synergetic mode. They must be in sync with one another when it comes to national interest. We are a country where there is bound to be governance of different ideologies, and why not? That is inclusivity manifestation in our society. I therefore urge from this platform that all those who are in seat of governance at all levels must enhance dialogue, must believe in consensus, must always be ready for deliberation. The problems the nation is facing should not be relegated to the background. We cannot afford any longer to have problems on the back burner, no. These will have to be addressed at the earliest. Harmony in polity is not just wishful thinking, a desirable facet. Harmony is imperative. If there is no harmony in polity, if the polity is polarized, deeply divisive, with no communication channels functioning, imagine you are in an earthquake, you are lost, and you have no connection with the outside world. Things will be terrible for you. And therefore I urge senior leadership for all political parties to create an ecosystem and climate that can generate dialogue, discussion, formal, informal. Otherwise, all efforts being taken by public service commissions, all efforts being taken by bureaucracy, the results will be downsized. The results will be a challenge. Consensual approach, discussion is deeply rooted in our civilizational ethos. This is a message we give to the world. Time for us to follow this message for ourselves. Honorable Chief Minister, intellectuals are supposed to guide us. Intellectuals are supposed to be fire extinguishers when there is social disharmony, when there is a problem. I find intellectuals are formed into groups. They sign representations they may not have read. They think signing representation is a password for getting a position if a particular dispensation comes to power. Now look at intellectuals, former bureaucrats, former diplomats. You earned a level of public service which others must emulate. You must be objective in making representations. You cannot create a groove to subserve your interest with change of political alignments. I appeal to them. You are think tank of the country. You are reservoir of talent and experience. Please use it for national good. Friends, I conclude. Heartfelt gratitude to the Honorable Chief Minister of Karnataka for having taken initiative to make this conference happen in the capital city of Karnataka. The arrangements I find is excellent. The chairman of Karnataka Public Service Commission has taken initiative, approached me also, has brought about this convergence. But taste, as they say, of the pudding lies in eating. The deliberations over next couple of hours, today and tomorrow, I understand, would be extremely useful. There will be much to take back on your table, and I am sure you will get an opportunity to generate a live connect with the Union Public Service Commission and work in a manner that there is so much credibility of institutions of public service commissions that even the private sector seeks to avail the mechanism you evolve. Congratulations to all of you and wishing you a great 2025 and more years to come. Thank you so much.